When I was in the Army, I had a sergeant that used to say, lead, follow, or get out of the way. That always stuck with me for some reason. I think it's because the idea of leadership for me was something that I always shied away from. I didn't want to get in the way, so I just became a follower. Tell me what to do, I'll do it. There's no risk in that. And oftentimes we're in a position where we're not the one in authority. And when I was in the military, rarely was I the one who was in the leadership position. I became a follower in almost every aspect of my life because I didn't want to lead. I was afraid of leadership. I was afraid that I would be rejected, people wouldn't follow me, people wouldn't like me if I told them what to do. I would try to be people's friends instead of leading them. Anytime I got put in a management position, I really didn't do very because again, I wasn't a great leader and I wasn't a great manager because I didn't want to step on other people's toes because I felt like if I stepped on their toes, then they wouldn't like me. And if they didn't like me, then they wouldn't follow my lead. I found actually that the opposite was true when I tried to make people my friends and tried to do things for them. And I was entering into these covert contracts. All I was doing was being disappointed because when I would ask them to do something and they didn't want to do it, instead of them respecting me, they disrespected me because they knew they could walk all over me. And I really had to work on this leadership part of my life because one of the things that I realized as I've been doing my own work around men's work and masculinity and the masculine feminine polarity is that the masculine does. The masculine actually leads. So if you're in a position of the masculine, and if you don't know how to lead, then you're not going to be leading from a position of authority and confidence because you simply just don't know how to lead. How you can develop your own leadership, just leadership with yourself and then leaders with others, because the more confident you are about your leadership, the better you're going to be able to lead yourself and lead others. So there's three things that I think are really important for a leader to be able to focus on and get a lot of clarity on. And I'm going to talk about those three things here today. The first thing that a leader has to do is the leader has to get clarity on their vision. Where are we going? Leadership implies that we're going from point A to point B, and I'm going to be the one that takes us there. But if I don't have a point B, if I don't know where we're going, if I don't know what I want, then I'm not going to be able to have a vision and I'm not going to be able to express that vision to other people. Getting really clear on your vision. What do you want your life to look like, say a year from now, 2 years from now? What do you want your relationships to look like? What do you want your job to look like? What do you want your spiritual practices to be like? What do you want your recreational things? Where do you want to have fun in life? And we talked about that in yesterday's video about the importance of having recreation. If I don't have a vision for these things, then how can I get there? So the first thing a leader does is the leader has to get clarity on what he wants so that he can create a vision for himself and then he can lead other people into following that vision. For example, let's say you knew you were going to have a vacation. Well, where do we want to go on vacation? I don't know. I don't, and if you don't know, and your vacation comes and you end up not doing anything because you didn't have a vision for it. But if you have a vision, hey, we're going to Disneyland. That's what we're doing. Now I can get excited about that. I can get other people excited about that. Hey guys, we're going to Disneyland. And what we need to do is we need to save our money and we need to create a plan. How are we going to get there? What are the flights? What are the transportation? What do we want to do when we get there? And as you create this vision of where you're going and what it's going to look like, then suddenly that vision starts to become crystal clear. So for yourself, getting really crystal clear first on what it is that you want. When we create that vision, what we're doing then is we're inspiring other people to follow that vision by being able to articulate and explain where it is we're going to create some excitement around it. Because one of your jobs as a leader is to inspire other people to follow you in your vision. And if you don't have clarity of vision, then how can you inspire them? But if I know, hey, this is where I'm going, I'm asking you, do you want to join me on this vision? Then I'm inspiring those people around me to come along because the vision I have is really exciting and they want to join me in my vision. So a leader has to create a vision, what they want and where they're going, and then inspire other people to follow and help them implement that vision. The second thing a leader has to have is a leader has to have values. You cannot lead unless you're doing it from a place of value. I need to operate from a place of my own values. The values of courage, the values of honesty, the values of wisdom, the values of kindness, generosity, temperance. When I lead from a place of values, that creates a confidence inside of me that says, hey, this is solid. If you haven't sat down and pinned out your values, I encourage you to do that. Just get a piece of paper and just brainstorm. What are your personal values? Loyalty, assertiveness, courage. These are things that most of us don't actually think about. I think it's extremely important that when you're in a position of leadership that you know exactly what your values are because those values are going to keep you on track as you go and implement the vision. The third thing a leader needs to have is a leader needs to have a purpose. Why are we doing this? What is the outcome? What is it that we want to see as a result of the effort that we put into this? This is your mission. And your mission has to be big enough that it will keep you going in those times of disappointment, in those times when other people get in the way, in those times where there's obstacles for you implementing your vision and for you inspiring others to follow your vision. One of the reasons the character piece or the values piece is so important is because if you don't have a value of tenacity, then you're going to quit. But if you know why you're doing it, if you have a purpose and a reason behind that, and you have a mission that you're trying to accomplish, you're much more likely to get there if your why is big enough. So, why do you want to be there? A leader needs to have a vision, they need to have values, and they need to have purpose. What the hell were those balloons? Did you guys see that? It was weird. I don't know what happened. Get clarity on all three of those things. Write them down. Write those three things down and come up with statements. What is my vision? What are my values? What is the mission? Whether it's at home with your kids or your wife, or it's at your job, or if it's just with yourself, it's important for us as men to step into the leadership role and be in that masculine energy of doing our purpose ultimately always has to be coming from a place of love, coming from a place of abundance, coming from a place of service. That our value, our vision, and our mission is all about creating love and inspiration. And I think if we do those things, man, we will change the world. So that's what I got for you today. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.